Hi guys, welcome back to the Funny Thing Is podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Birch, where every week I bring you someone who shares their trauma, the medicine they took to heal, and the funniest lesson they learned. Today is no exception. Cannot wait to introduce you to my really good friend, writer and performer, Hunter Cope. Yay!
All
Welcome,
right.
welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great.
So we've known each other over a decade.
A long time now.
A long time now.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you decided to do this show with me.
I'm so glad to be here.
When I asked you if you had anything to share, I'm going to let you tell it first. So what is a life-changing event that changed everything for you?
So I got a big fat DUI
Okay.
at 23 years old.
Okay.
That was not just hey, pull to the side of the road DUI.
Okay.
It was a big fat car accident.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I fell asleep and crashed my my little Scion XB, those sort
The
of
boxy
little,
cars.
the little
Yeah.
toaster vehicles
Yeah.
that have been discontinued since.
Okay, because of you.
Yes,
Right, correct.
Yeah. I crashed the last one.
Right.
And they said, this is a lot of douchebags are crashing these cars into
Yeah.
multiple parked cars. So,
Oh, wow. So we got to pull it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to just off the market.
So was anybody else in the cars, the parked cars?
Nobody was
Luckily,
in the parked
no.
cars.
Okay.
Nobody else was in my vehicle. Just
Okay.
me, myself and I, 23-year-old Hunter Cope.
Okay.
Post a full, bottle of Jameson.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was a dark night.
Okay, so
and-
how did we get there? What led up? Because usually DUIs they're not like a flash in the pan, right?
No.
Right.
So, gosh, how far back do we go? I mean, I'll take you to the top of the night.
Great.
Top of the night, and I'm at home. I'm still living with my folks because I was a super chill dude who girls really liked. And 23, living with my folks in West Hills, California, and got a text from Du Bois.
Right.
Hey, it's like probably 9. Hey, we're gonna go to the bar. You want to join? Had that thing in the stomach, the gut, sort of. Maybe I shouldn't do
Go
this. I
out
just
tonight.
keep
Oh,
cruising
wow.
on whatever I'm cruising on, and which was probably TV and probably a joint. And
Okay.
window open,
Yeah.
door locked, mom and dad in the other room.
Right.
It was
I gotcha.
it was a cool vibe.
Yeah.
But I said, fuck it, I'll go out.
Okay.
And so head to the bar, and we're all just in that we're all in our early 20s. We're
Yeah.
all actors, writers.
Right.
I had just made my first movie, this big sort of, it was very exciting. I thought I was gonna be the talk of the town.
Yeah, I read about you in People magazine.
Yeah,
I remember that.
People,
I
yes.
remember that.
It was small.
It was great,
Yes,
dude.
it was exciting.
I literally showed my mom I was jumping over the moon. I was like, I did a movie with him. I'm so
Yeah.
excited. Yeah.
It was such an insane time. I had, I just had no idea. Looking back, I think I took a lot of that moment for granted. I just thought
Yeah.
oh, this is the start of something great. I'm gonna be the next James Dean. I'm gonna be like fat James Dean.
Yes,
This is
yes,
I
yeah.
had a vision for myself.
Yeah.
I had a leather jacket.
Yeah.
I was in this movie. Real people were in it. It was
Yeah.
it was a cool.
Big people were in it. Yeah.
It was a cool vibe.
Yeah.
Came back from that, I was in the best shape of my life,
Right.
so which was, still the fat James Dean thing. But it was still it was a vibe.
Yeah.
And then, so I just had this I think this arrogance of just going out, early 20s,
Yeah.
in a movie.
Yeah.
Had a Variety article
Yeah.
that said this guy's gonna be in this thing.
Yeah.
That
And
was
then
it.
so your ego got big.
Ego got big.
And so you're doing drinks with the guys.
doing drinks with the boys, which turned into, a good buddy of ours, actually a mutual friend of ours,
Okay.
Morgan.
Oh yeah, yes, I love him.
I think we're past the statute of limitations on this, so I can maybe out him. He used to be a manager at a movie theater
Okay.
in West Hills, California.
Okay.
So they would play the last movie.
Oh, I know where. Yeah.
And then he would be like, hey, let everyone come and I'll project a movie for you guys. So we had this thing where around 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's we were going out 11 o'clock was let's go.
Yeah,
at that
that's
age,
the start time. Yeah,
yeah.
it's breakfast. Yeah.
Exactly. We would go and meet at this movie theater and bring in booze and pot and and we would just like rip. Like we would just
Yeah.
like watch a movie. He'd project a movie for us.
Yeah.
Like the
Dope, man.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
It was totally a
Yeah.
scene, and it was like we're again on top of the world.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Come, like I'll project something for you guys." So we had the bar moment. The energy was like starting to build. There was just like that kind of like that frenzy, like
Yeah.
like this is getting exciting.
Yeah. It feels good. Yeah.
Yeah. We're having fun.
Yeah. You don't
Pull
want
up
the party to stop.
Yeah. We're there. We've got, we've stopped by the Ralphs. We've got some, shout out Ralphs. We've got some, some Jameson. We're like in the theater. It's Men in Black 3,
Yes, I was going to ask what movie it
Yeah.
was. Okay.
I know. It's like such an obscure film. I'm so triggered whenever I see it. Like it was on Netflix recently and like just
You're like,
stopped by the tile. I was like,
No, that reminds me of that night.
yeah,
No.
I can't do
Okay.
it. Yeah, I mean, we really just drop into the story. But here, yeah, so we're cruising. We're having fun. We're drinking. Somehow our shirts get taken off. It's like that kind of energy. Like,
Okay.
like there is like a picture from that night. Maybe I can send it to you and we can
Yes, I would love
cross-cut
it.
Like,
Yes,
we're like,
please.
it's like 5 boys like,
Yes, like flexing. Yeah,
what are we
bro.
doing?
Yes.
Like looking sweaty. Like,
Oh, I
just-
want that picture so bad.
it's
Because
just-
I bet I
it's
know
like-
so many people in that picture.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you absolutely do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the energy starting to turn and starting to sour. My one buddy who's got this girl he's dating, where he's they're in the back hooking up. It's
This is like a party.
it's
Damn.
intense.
Okay.
Yeah, we're
okay.
not just like if the movie was better, maybe we would have like been really dropped into the experience.
Yeah.
But so then that thing happens where you're drunk, you've smoked weed, you're like, I want to be home.
Yeah.
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 And
I hit that.
when
When I get to that, it's like I don't want to. I'll Irish goodbye every single time. I don't want to say goodbye. I just got to get out. Yeah.
It's a lot, and they actually say that that's the respectful way to leave something.
Yeah.
Is to Irish goodbye.
Yeah.
Because if you start saying I'm going to leave, then other people are like, oh, he's leaving, Nicole's leaving, I'm out of here too.
Yeah.
Anywho, that's a meme my mom sent me recently, which was like
I could see that.
the Irish goodbye. It's actually the respectful way to do it.
Yes.
Like, thanks,
Yeah.
Mom. So anyway, I'm in the urinal, urinating,
Yeah.
doing what we do there, and I just hit that moment like I should go home.
Yeah.
But I was toasted.
Yeah. Right.
This was an era too where like, it was just bad. It was just bad.
Yeah.
It was a lot of drinking going on at that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Early 20s, didn't go to college.
Everybody. I mean, the majority of people in the early 20s. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It's like
what-
made a movie.
Yeah.
Fat James Dean.
Yeah.
Like, so I get in my little box car.
Right. How far are
and
you from your house?
Not very far.
Oh, fuck.
Like 3.5 miles.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a good lesson. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when that is one of the many lessons in it is like just don't drink and drive.
Yeah, obviously don't. Yes,
like,
of course.
It's
Yeah.
very unchill. It's sus for
Right.
sure. Like,
Right.
But then the other one is like you think it's just a few miles, just fucking take a car.
Yeah.
Just Uber.
Yeah.
And then or Lyft, whoever is gonna sponsor the podcast.
Yeah.
Like just take a car, get somebody to cruise you home. It's so not worth it. Anyway, that's not why we're here. But so I'm like 3 miles from home. I literally pull out of the. This is how trashed and tired I was.
Okay.
Because now it's like probably 12:30.
Yeah.
1 a.m.
Yeah.
But like already was at home. When I told you like the 9 o'clock getting the text, I was like, I should probably just stay in. Like I was already in bed. It was one of those
Yeah.
things where it's like we get so much better about trusting our gut and our instinct as we get
Get
older.
correct. Yeah.
But back in like when I'm a teenager, like in your 20s, you're like at a party, like this is a bad vibe. Like I think that guy like has a gun. Like it's just that's the energy I get. Like he's like actively polishing a gun in the corner, but like free booze, like jungle juice.
Yeah,
like we're
the stuff
sticking
we
around.
used to do, yeah.
So it's so much. We've just learned so much as we evolve.
Yeah. So you pull out.
I pull out and literally with like the movie theater's here and like here's where I fall asleep. It's like I fall asleep in my car.
Oh,
I
you fall asleep
drunk.
immediately almost.
Pretty
Okay,
much.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm pretty close to home. Might as well like get started on like the sleeping part of this.
Yeah.
Like, and so end up falling asleep. And I remember getting in the vehicle. I don't remember falling asleep.
Right.
And I remember waking up with like, as I'm, sliding
Each car.
And then,
Fuck, dude.
yeah. So they're all parked, thank God.
So
And
that wakes you up. You get
that
out.
wakes me up. I'm like, whoopsie daisy.
Yeah.
And but then somehow like there's cars, and then there's like cars parked, and then there's no car, and then there's another car, and I think in my like, oh shit, I gotta wake up. I pull this way, and then pull this way, and I just ram into the back of
the other car.
of a big fat Beamer. Yeah, a nice looking 5 Series. If that's I think that's what it was.
Okay.
So airbags.
Oh, you got hit with the airbag.
Oh,
okay.
big time.
Okay.
Big time airbag energy.
So did neighbors come out?
Yes. Yeah, neighbors come out. Well, first off, smoke starts rising from the top of the car, and my immediate reaction is like, do I just fucking run?
Yeah, dude.
Like,
but you're also like, this is my thing is,
Yeah.
I don't talk to, like, if I'm ever in an argument with somebody who's been inebriated, I'm like, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because at that point, you're still, like you said, you go, oopsie daisy.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of you're drunk.
Yeah.
You're drunk enough to get in that situation. It's not going to make you sober.
Yeah.
And so you're like, do I run? Like, that's when people are like, why would you run? It's like, because you're drunk still.
Yeah. And I'm starting to go, okay.
Not an excuse. I'm just saying that's how the mind's working. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, what is the plan? If I run, well, there's still my car here. Like,
yeah.
that's actually worse. I start playing out in my head. I'm like, that's actually more illegal. Like that's, so then, and at that point, this family rolls out of their house because they heard kaboom.
Yeah.
Because it was quite a sound.
Yeah, I bet.
I'd say I wouldn't suggest anybody hear that.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in the vessel that is creating said sound. It's scary.
Yeah.
And so this family comes out and they bring me into their house, which was quite nice. And I was just like,
was it any of their cars?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And what's funny is that like now stuff starts to get a little blurry.
Yeah.
Because like I think like I'm tossed, but then there's also like this trauma, like
it's an overload on your body.
You're just like I'm like oh yeah, and like I remember they gave me a bottle of water and like my hand shaking and like
your body has got to be like internally going, what the fuck, like you got us drunk, you got us high, now we're fucking
now we're here,
trauma.
your Scion is busted, like it's a great car.
So did they call the cops?
I think I don't know who called the cops.
Somebody did. Okay.
But I think it was either them or the 3 other parked cars. I sort of as the appetizer before the main
crescendo.
course.
Yeah. Okay.
And so cops arrive, and we start doing the sobriety tests.
Okay. How'd that go?
I failed 9 out of 10.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And later,
I'd love to know the one that you passed. I'd love to know. What's your name? That's the one.
Yeah, that's the one. Exactly. Just Hunter. I think. But yeah, because like later I got a lawyer because I was like, maybe there's a way to get out of this. Like the whole time I'm like, maybe I'm gonna
get a wet and reckless.
I can move through this.
Yeah.
And the lawyer like got the police report, and like on the police report it says like Mr. Cope failed 9 out of 10 sobriety tests, and then admitted to the officer, I'm pretty sloshed. So I just like it was just like a mission of guilt, right? Like
did they have you blow?
I don't remember.
Oh wow.
I don't recall.
Damn. Okay.
But like I mean.
Yeah.
It was on my face. I mean, like it was like.
Yeah. They knew.
They knew.
I got a DUI when I was 20, and I had left a bar called the Speedway in Kansas, and I was going. I don't want to say this the wrong way because I always say I was going the wrong way home on the highway, so people think I was going against traffic. No, I was not. I ended up taking like 435 south instead of 435 north. So I literally just took the wrong highway home.
Right.
And I was going so slow that they pulled me over. And I'm in a mini jean skirt. This is, 50 pounds ago. Mini jean skirt, tight Abercrombie and Fitch top.
Mm-hmm. I'm listening.
Yeah. And they had me do the alphabet starting at G.
Come on.
And so I go, A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I need to go with you, is what I said. And they're like, and that was it. So they took me with them, and I cried the whole time. I mean, I was in like and I think this is what we were talking about. I think this is really interesting, is that I was in a really bad place. Like I was having issues with my parents, and my dad and I were like, it was really toxic.
Right.
And I was obviously drinking to medicate. And you were, like you said, on top of the world,
Yeah.
and this happened.
Yes.
Neither are excusable.
No.
And we've both like definitely learned from, which you're about to get into. But I also think that people can get into situations like this from all different aspects of life. You're doing great, you're doing shitty, none of it's excused, but it's about learning from it. And for me, the people that baffle me the most are the ones who have like DUIs and don't learn anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? I mean, I was crying like 6 months later when we went to court for it.
Of course.
Bawling. And the cops were there and I went up and hugged them and I gave them thank you notes. Like it was nuts, dude.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was just one of those things where it's so much shame around it.
So much shame.
But there should be some shame because that's what creates change, right?
Absolutely, there should be shame. I mean, it was the next 2 years of my life were like they were all like it was all part of an era of like self-discovery and like self-hate turning into self-love.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like I was like quote unquote on top of the world. Like, you know, I made one movie, but thought I was I thought I was like, it was the start of everything.
Yeah.
But like, really, I think I was internally sad. Like, I think I ultimately wasn't in a good place.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I think I ultimately was drinking really aggressively.
Right.
Because like, perhaps there was a little imposter syndrome.
Well, for sure. If you're really on top of the world and really grounded in that, there's no need to like overindulge in a lot of stuff, right?
Totally.
So yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
I think I think a lot of the drinking and smoking at that era, and even still, is like a reflection of like just feelings. I have big feelings. We all have big feelings, and you're like, I don't want to feel this. And what I've learned in the last 11 years since then is like, no, feel those, live in those. That's the good stuff.
Yeah.
That means you're alive, and that means you're.
Yeah. So let's get into your medicine.
Sure.
So what's the medicine that you took to heal from that?
There was a lot of different, I mean, I started meditating for the first time, like really actively. I started working with like naturopathic healers and like, like.
And you also had to do this stuff for the DUI.
Sure.
Like
alcohol classes.
It's expensive, the classes.
Yes. Community service.
Yep. Same. Okay.
That was an experience. Like, the community service, like I picked parks where it's like you could go like clean up parks around the community, and like you go meet at this park at like 5:30 in the morning. And like the guy that basically drive you around a truck, they give you a red, orange vest, and then leave you at a park, and they're like,
clean up.
Clean it up.
Yeah.
But the guy that like picked me up the first time was like absolutely drunk. So it was a
oh my
very confounding
gosh,
thing.
that's so crazy.
And like look at the back of his truck. There's a couple like
empty bottles,
empty Corona bottles, and I was like, okay, this is just all. And then so anyway, then you had the alcohol classes, and but I got really into meditation and like. Started taking care of myself, but really, I got very depressed, and I told my mom, I was like, I need to talk to a therapist. So, sort of my big medicine was like psychotherapy, talk therapy for really for the first time in my adult life.
Right.
And so I got a therapist. I told my mom, I was like, you need to help me, and like, like. I was like, you need to pay for it.
Yeah.
Like I didn't go to college, so like you need to pay for it.
Oh, you did the guilt.
Yeah. I've pulled that a handful of times where I'm like, I want to make a short film. Like I didn't go to college. Like pay for it. She's like, I'll give you a couple $100, but I'll bring a casserole.
I'll bring a casserole. That's what I'll do.
Yeah.
That's what you got me for.
Yeah, but so I got this therapist. So my mom reached out to somebody who basically was like, I know a good guy. He's good with like young men. He can help young men.
Great.
So like,
it's a very specific energy.
Yeah. I'm like, I am that.
Yeah.
I am one, and I need help.
Yeah.
And so I go to him for the first time. My first time, like, like pressing the red button and like waiting for the therapist to come out. Like very exciting. I'm like, this is cool technology.
Yeah.
And
what's he look like?
So basically, the door swings open, and this guy comes out, and he's about 6 feet tall. He's about 55, 60 years old.
Okay.
Very fit. He's like not very fit. Like he like good arms.
Yeah.
It's like good arms.
Yeah.
Good chest. Good shoulders. Sort of like a teal. Masculine.
Yeah.
Like sort of like this. Like it's just like a well-fit shirt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like almost like a teal seafoam green shirt.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, I'm David. Come on in. And he's got like great hair, kind of like a wily smirk, sort of like a little Mark Ruffalo energy.
Oh, love.
You know,
yeah, I tell him everything.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly. He's like, come on in, Hunter. Everything's going to be just fine. You know?
Oh, God, I love this guy's energy.
Yeah, and immediately I'm like, I like this guy.
Yeah.
This guy's fucking cool. He's like wearing jeans, like jeans and like the teal shirt, like that's like really kind of hugging the seps, you know, like he's like in a like, and he brings me in the office and we start talking and he's great and he's like an ex-addict, like cocaine addict and alcoholic.
Yeah.
And so like he has a little bit of that background, so
which is great.
Which is great. Like I'm talking about, you know, like my relationship with alcohol. I'm like trying to figure out like, am I an alcoholic or am I just an asshole? Like,
right,
you know,
yeah.
You know, like that's like a, you know, very important question for the next handful of years. I'm exploring like, am I just a fucking idiot that doesn't value my life, or do I have a real problem with this stuff?
Yeah.
Well, the kind of the issue with him was, like I said, he was this ex-addict, cool guy.
Had a presence, yeah.
Great hair. Did I mention that already? Yeah. He has like great, almost like John Bon Jovi-esque.
Yeah, he has a very strong presence. Yeah.
And his previous life was he was like a producer in Hollywood and a writer.
Oh, this is like the guy that was molded into clay for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he's cool, but then he would like talk about like he was sort of involved in like the development of the show Cops.
Okay.
And like he did like kind of like early docu-reality stuff plus narrative, a couple made for TV movies. Like I looked him up, I was like, okay, like decent credits, but like either way, I'll judge you on him. Like he didn't really, maybe could have gone a little further in his career, but you know, he wanted to go help people. So
yeah.
But then he would like talk about like, when we were developing Cops, like man, we would just like have beers out and like we'd have a big mountain of Coke and like I'm like, you're making that sound fun. Like he would talk about his like addict days. He would talk about him like I'd be like, that doesn't like, and they'd be like, yeah, but I'm clean now, you know, like that was the worst time of my life. I was like, that sounded like,
it sounded dope, dude.
It sounded like
you're not selling me on sobriety, bro.
Yeah, you're not doing a good job, bro. And then like, you know, he was talking about like, you know, meeting with studio execs. So he had like this really cool, you know, Mark Ruffalo, ex-addict energy, you know, great biceps.
Full life.
Yeah, what's that?
Full life experience. Like he had
full
some
life
like
experience.
A lot of experiences, yeah.
He would make this face like when I would like, you know, like kind of open up and like he'd make this like really like a face that's like
like I understand. I'm here
like
for you.
a face that I always wanted my dad to make.
That's it.
Towards me, you know, like I hear you.
Yeah, he's connected, dude. Yeah.
You're heard.
Yeah.
And I'm with you and I'm like, not only do I hear you, but like I understand you.
Right.
There was a sensitivity to him.
Right.
David.
Yeah.
Was his name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dr. David.
So how long did you see him?
So I saw him for about a year, but here's kind of where the sort of the lesson I learned.
Here's where it turns. Okay.
Here's where it turns is like, I thought this guy was so fucking cool and hot.
Yeah.
I was like, this guy's fucking hot. I was getting excited. I would like get ready to see him. Like,
yeah.
You know, they'll go to like,
yeah, put my lipstick on. Yeah.
Like, what's up, David? How are you, brother?
Yeah.
Like, nice to see you. Like, you know, and because I thought he was so cool and I really just wanted him to be my daddy.
Yeah.
I started kind of like fabricating what was going on in my life.
Yeah.
Because like I wanted him to be proud of me.
Yeah.
I wanted my dad to be proud of me.
Yeah.
You know, like, don't we all?
Right.
You know, and it really was fucked up because it ties into my own issues with my father.
For sure.
Like I joke about it a lot, but it's like, that's all I really want is for my dad to get me and to hear me and to like think that I'm like great and like
everything you're saying right now is literally why I had to stop seeing male therapists.
There you go.
I was like, oh, there's two. I can already feel it. It's got to be a female therapist. Yeah. So I totally get it. I get it.
So I would start like coming in, like getting ready, like for my, you know,
your date with David,
45-minute, you know, $180 date with a medical professional, and come in there and like be like, David, everything's fucking great, bro. Like what we're doing here is working. Like I'm like it's all you, brother. Like I would like. I was just.
It's all you,
It's all you. Like we were like dapping up at the top, like, what's up, dude? Like, Davey. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what product are you using in your hair? Like, what's going on? Like, you.
Oh my
like,
God. No, what was really going on though?
What was really going on was like, well, I was
Still drinking.
I was still drinking.
Yeah.
I was, but I was also still like engaging in like toxic behavior and negative self-talk, and there was still that like. I was like giving these like fake progress reports. We'd be like, sounds like things are going really well, Hunter. Like, nice work. And then I would leave and like go start a fight with my girlfriend on the way home, on like get on the phone and be like, just like totally colluding with my therapist.
Yeah.
Like, just like, and blowing all my mom's money on the way, on the way there. Like all that, like begging her, like, I didn't go to college, so like you need to help pay for this. Like, just bullshitting my way through these sessions with him. Be like, yeah, I'm doing well. Like, you know, I'm like, yeah. So it was like, I'm also like eating better. Have you noticed? And he's like, it's just like all fake bullshit and like just giving him like these, you know, fake progress reports on how I was, because I started getting off on like him being like, you're doing really well.
Yeah,
but
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. Yeah,
I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Like,
so did he call it out at the end, or did you?
My folks gave me a time limit because they're like, we're not gonna just keep
do this forever.
This. Yeah. So we kind of reached that limit, and I also I forget what happened. I think things did ultimately get better in my life as you know, I got a little older. Just like the natural progression.
Yeah, there's a natural, and you're still probably taking some stuff from him, right?
Totally.
You're still taking that. Yeah.
He was still, I mean, it wasn't all that. Like, I wasn't just like completely like, everything's great, Dad.
Yeah.
But like, the lesson for me was like, don't fall in love with your therapist.
Yeah.
Like, don't get a hot dude therapist.
Yeah, don't get a hot dude therapist.
Like, if your therapist has like really good hair, like, probably run. It ain't it. Like, and so I stopped working with him. I think after a year was what my folks said, that they were willing to pay for a year.
Okay.
So, you know, much love to them. They've always been supportive, even when I, you know, crash my fucking toaster into 3 parked cars and tell the police officer, I'm pretty sloshed and spent the night in Van Nuys jail cell.
At least we're honest when we're drunk. Because I was like, I got to go with you, buddy. Yeah. I'm done.
I know, that's so endearing.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not.
Take me with you.
Take me with you.
I
can't drive anymore.
This is not good.
Yeah.
So that was sort of the big lesson, was like, don't get a Hawkeye therapist. Don't fall in love with a therapist. Like, a few years later, I got another therapist who I'm still working with now, who's like my dude.
Yeah.
Who, no disrespect to Dr. Bernardi, but he's not a hot guy.
Yeah.
You know, like he's you know, he's classic Bob Balaban, like therapist look.
Yes,
like
I know exactly.
Well-dressed, Freudian, you know, energy down here. Like, you know, early in our sessions, he would be like, we'd be doing therapy like this, and he's like, why don't you try it on the couch? I'm like, why? That's kind of like, that's sort of in that old fashioned. He's like, you care too much what I think about you, and you are
like he
you're gauging my face for a reaction to your energy and to your humor, and like, you want me to like you.
Dude.
He like totally did what Dr. David did not do. Like, he called me on my shit, and he's like, so lay on the couch, like, look at the ceiling, like, stop.
That's why they would have them do that. That's interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's the way I still do it.
Yeah.
Because I think there's something really free-flowing that happens when
I imagine if that's your thing, where you want to get somebody's reaction, if you take that away, then it's like the stuff you're working on moves through you faster.
Totally.
And then you don't, but it's also healing the part of you that doesn't need validation.
Yes.
At the same time. That's dope.
And there's more of a train of thought that can happen too. I think, you know, you're just not worried about what the other person's thinking of you. And I'm also like, early in our sessions with Dr. Bernardi, I would be like, well, what's your world about? Like, what do you do? And he's like, that's not important.
Yeah.
Like, it's about you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and he's like, you're trying to get information about me so that you can manipulate my feelings. Because that's like, so that
I think there's a little bit of that with every therapist. Like, I've had my therapist, Annie, who I talk about, like, she's in my stand-up special. She actually came to see my stand-up special. And she bolted right after. And I was like, oh, but I wanted to meet you and your husband. Because I've seen her for 7-8 years, right? And she's like, no, I think it's best that I just bounced.
Yeah.
I've also referred her to other friends, and they were in the audience.
Yeah.
She was like, I really think I should have just bounced, And I was like, okay. But she left, her and her husband left me a lovely voice memo. And she was like, and then the next time I had therapy, I was like, I thought I did terrible, and I did it. And she was like, look, hands down, best performance we've seen.
Oh,
wow. And best stuff you've ever done. And I'm not going to bullshit. Like, it was one of those things where I was so glad she came, because I had all those demons in my head, and people were giving me what I thought was like false patting me on the back.
Yeah.
But she was there, so she could do that.
Yeah.
But then you also don't want to cross that line to be like, when can we double date? Like, what's happening here? Like it can get very murky.
Yeah. Yeah. My current therapist is, I'm a writer, and that business is just horrible, and
as we say during the strike, as we're in the middle of a strike.
Week 2 of a writer strike that is
looking like it's going to be a while.
Like it's going to be a long summer.
A while, and then SAG's probably going to come in now.
Which could be very exciting. It could be an exciting, striky summer. And perhaps we'll all come out of it better,
hopefully,
and stronger. But I was like, you don't even understand the difference between, staffing and development. And he's like, yes, I do, Hunter. And I was like, well, how? He's like, all I'm going to say is I'm married to it. And then I was like, oh, okay. And then I looked this guy up. I like kind of did my internet sleuthing. I was like, oh, his husband is like a very like long-standing like sitcom writer. And so
okay. I'm married. So when he said I'm married to it, he literally was married. So I thought he meant he was married to it. Okay,
his hubby like was on Frasier for like the bulk of the series.
Just a small sitcom. Yeah.
And so I'm like, I was able to he gave me just enough information for us to like create that bond, and then like, but he never goes too deep into it. And so I think that's like, in my opinion, other people have different relationships with their therapists. For me, it's helpful if it's just like, it's an exchange, and it's almost medical. It's like
clock in, clock out.
That's just that's just what works for me.
Yeah.
Because I think that my personality type is I just want people to love me.
Yeah.
And
well, I love you.
I love you too, Nicole.
Yeah. Okay, so after all this, what do you think the funniest lesson you learned is?
I think it really is don't get a hot guy therapist. Yeah, I think it's
don't fall in love with your therapist.
Don't get don't try to make your therapist your dad.
Yeah.
So
does your dad know that you did that?
Does he know that I did what? That I fell in love with this guy a little bit, and
that you wanted his approval because it ties into your issues with your dad.
My dad knows that I want his approval. I'm pretty vocal about that.
Yeah.
Whether it's in comedy, like just like humorously making jokes about it, like, or like, breaking down and crying and being like, why don't you ask about, you talk so much about immigration and Trump, and like, why don't you ask about my scripts? Like, don't you want to know what lives in my heart?
Oh God. Yeah.
So,
so he knows.
He knows, and he's doing his best, and he's trying, and that's about as much as I can ask for from him as a 75-year-old white guy who was born in, born in 1949.
I know.
It's insane.
It's a different lifetime, man.
Totally.
It's a different lifetime.
They're doing their best with the...
So how do you think we'll end on this, how do you think your relationship is with alcohol now?
I think my relationship with alcohol is healthy now. I mean, I still drink. I did go sober for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Like after that experience, like I was like, maybe this will be good for me. And like, and I've done kind of pockets of sobriety. I like sort of doing that, like just sort of like turning the faucet off and be like, let's see what happens. And like good stuff happens, it's also a little bit more boring. Life is a little bit more, it's just, it's not boring. It's just,
it's your experience. Yeah.
It's a little bit less fun and loose, and but it was, my relationship with alcohol, I think, is in a good, healthy place.
Yeah.
The best thing that happens when you stop drinking for me is like I lose a bunch of weight.
Yeah. Same.
So that's like pretty sick.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, oh yeah. And then like I'm like, all right, well, it's summer. Let's get a cool haircut and start drinking again. And then like, I'll gain like 30 pounds. I'm like, oh, so it really is.
It is the alcohol.
It's the margarita.
I'm the same.
It's so that's I think it's in a good place, but honestly, it's something I've been thinking about, like popping into another sobriety period again and just being like, let's see what happens. Like,
yeah, I'm the same way. I don't think it should be black and white. I don't think it should be all or nothing. Like, well, I don't think either of us have a situation where it is full blown alcoholism. So it's, I mean,
just
those
baby
people,
alcoholism.
yeah, just baby,
a
like
little
tiny, like we're
bit.
dipping our toe into
Yeah,
it, you know?
yeah, just exploring it.
Yeah, but yeah, I think for me, it's like, oh, you have to have a good gauge on when you need to dip out and dip in. Yeah.
Totally. Well, it's like I'll catch myself and be like, am I drinking to like get loose and have some fun with my girl and like, have a couple martinis like
Yeah.
on a Friday night and like, like take our clothes off maybe? Or am I drinking because like I had a bad week
Yeah.
and like I'm feeling sorry for
Yeah.
myself?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh no, I kind of just want to like numb that stuff out. Like just like I think being really self-aware of that stuff.
Of what you're doing it for. I agree.
And that I think is hard to do, but is kind of
necessary.
that's where I try to live is like just mindful drinking.
Yeah. Mindful drinking.
Mindful drinking.
Name of the episode.
There you go.
Mindful drinking.
Yes, yes.
If you guys enjoyed this episode as much as I did, don't forget to follow me on @thefunnythingisPodcast podcast or NicoleComedy.com. And as always, follow, like, and subscribe. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.